Good morning. Welcome to Natasha Makes. Only it's not me making because it is a Wednesday, which means lovely Jane Alcock is making for us today. How are you, Jane?
I'm all right, thank you. Yes,
good.
Thank you.
It's raining.
Yes.
What's that all about?
I wasn't expecting that. I said to Vinga, I wasn't expecting that. She said, I was. I said, well, I didn't listen to the forecast then.
No. Which means it's a day to stay in and sew. That's what rain means.
Perfect day for sewing.
Every excuse.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Today, Jane is making ooh. This is rather gorgeous, isn't it?
Yes.
So this fabric came in just last week.
Yeah.
And we also went, oh, ooh, lovely, lovely, lovely. And it is all ocean based. We have got seahorses, we've got turtles, we've got starfish, we've got conch shells. Yes.
Oh.
And other things.
There's a mermaid's tail.
Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, I've just noticed your necklace as well.
Yeah,
love it.
I love a seahorse.
Love it, love it.
Which is why it's in the middle of that quilt.
Do you know, at the beach the other day, I found such a thing as a mermaid's pocket.
Yes.
I didn't know that was an actual real thing.
It's a dogfish seed case, isn't it?
It's a, yeah, it's
an
a,
egg case.
it's an egg. Yeah.
Mermaid's
I didn't
eyes.
know.
Did you?
I didn't know. I was like, no, you're having a laugh. That's not a thing. Actual fact.
Yeah.
I love that I still learn every day.
Lovely, every day. There's
Every
something
day.
to learn, isn't there?
Always. Who have we got? We've got Faye, we've got your mother, and we've got Mr. John Cole Morgan. How are you both? He says, I think.
We're a lot
both
better
okay.
than you are, I think, John.
Yeah, that
Not
cough.
you poorly bad person. Am I a little
Jane's a little quiet.
A little ramage.
Oof.
Just check.
Gemma's coming into rummage,
Microphone's sitting
making
on.
sure.
I'm not muted, I don't think.
Oh, we'll have a look. Oh, yeah, you see, Anne's just
Oh,
said
right.
Jane's mic is very quiet.
I'm so sorry. I was muted.
Why
I
did I
hadn't.
keep doing that? I did it
don't know.
yesterday.
I just wanted Gemma to rummage in my pocket.
I mean, she is HR, so it's fine. If she didn't mind, I don't mind. We're all very, very good here. Julia's here, Lo's here, good morning, and Tracy, good morning, and Anne, and John Smith, good morning, and Jane, hello. CC just called Inga bingo. I don't understand. Very confused. Morning, Vicky! What a beautiful quilt. Certainly is. We've got two options for you in this quilt today, by the way. So sparkly says, morning, gorgeous people, surrounded by gorgeousness. It's how we like to live our life,
Yes,
isn't it?
It's,
You know.
it's hard life, but someone's got to do it.
Betty says, morning, Tash and Jane, good morning. And Linda's here and Karen's here. She says, morning, one and all, looking lovely. Yes, it is. Margaret, we've sorted the microphone situation and all is good with the world. Gemma to the rescue, says John. Haha. Morning, Susie. She's morning. Beautiful, calming quilt. Love a mermaid's pocket. How did I get to 42 and not know what a mermaid's pocket was?
Well, I'm surprised because you lived by the coast, didn't you, as a
For many
youngster?
years. For many years.
Yes.
I had to
Well,
get my
you
little
must-
book out and look it up.
We used to go to the a cottage in Wales, and there was an aquarium, and we'd go and we'd see the dogfish, and you'd see the dogfish in the harbour,
Yeah.
and so I knew about mermaids' purses from that.
I mean, Emily was thrilled. For a 3-year-old, I think
Yes,
she had an actual
actual
mermaid's
mermaid's
purse.
purse,
Yeah. Okay, says it's very wet where she is as well. Morning, Ali. Are you feeling better, Ali? She had a bit of a one last week.
Oh, dear.
She says, good morning, Natasha and family. I'm feeling a bit more human today.
Good.
Good.
That's what we
Good,
want.
good, good, good. She might be able to eat real food soon.
Woohoo.
Ali, yes, your parcel has arrived and it's sitting on the chair in the other room for me to bring in for the show today to show everyone your gorgeous makes. She's done some beautiful pay it forwards.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely
Thank
beautiful
you.
pay it forwards. And actually, Ali, I've got some syringe driver bags that I can post to you to take to if you want. Elizabeth said John gave her the heads up. Jane Alcock and Mrs. Makes in 5. See, he's got it. Morning,
He's
John.
he's on the case. Thank you, John.
John Cole Morgan is swooning, not because he's ill, but because of the quilt.
Yes.
Janet says, morning both of you, pouring with rain here in Wellingborough. Lovely to be watching you. The quilt looks lovely.
Definite sewing day today.
Yeah, and Lo's got Under the Sea playing in her head.
Yes.
You can keep that now. You can keep that there. Good morning, ladies, from Scotland, says Patricia. There we go. We are very limited on one of these kits, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah. No, do you know Little Mermaid? It's like 30 odd years old.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
Seriously.
Lion King, because Lion King's just a year older than Isaac, and he's going to be, well, he's 28 now, so it's nearly 30 years old as well.
You know when you just go, how?
Yes.
How? Moana's like quite old too.
Yeah.
I know. Come on. Jane. Yesterday we had a little parcel arrive all the way from that there Australia.
Yes.
You know, I did this on Monday's show when we we had new fabrics from Australia from Lisa and a restock of everything we'd run out of because you love a bit of Lisa and I don't blame you. And she did say, I've posted a sample for you. Obviously it didn't arrive in time and I did mine upside down.
Yes.
Which
didn't look too awful, although you were devastated because you'd spent a lot of time working on it.
And I was so pleased with my fussy cutting. That was the irony of it. I was really pleased with my fussy cutting. Got it all beautiful. And then, of course, realised how it actually went together. I was like, oh, it's in honour of Lisa that it's upside down because she's Australian. But this is what it should look like when you do yours. We've got them in 2 different colourways. We've got them in the grey.
Isn't it beautiful?
And look at that. So she's taken... Yeah, that's what they will look like when they are sewn together. I haven't got to the sewing it around the top bit, but look at the base.
They make beautiful gifts, wouldn't they?
They really do, and this is why you see those the diamonds have got the bend in them so that they can, and it will
just
sit
up
very, very beautifully like that. We've got it in the grey and cream, or we've got it in black and red.
You feel like you need to make a lid for it somehow. I don't know how you would, but...
I just want to stuff it with beautiful things.
Yeah, you could just have it in the middle of your table at Christmas with pretty things in.
Lindors, Ferrero Rochers, all sorts of things. Although then I do want to actually see the base of it because it is so beautifully done. So that's what they will look. I just love the shape that she's managed to get. And that's with the perspex that comes as part of the kit. So if I've only got a limited number of these. We got what we could sent from Australia. So if you missed out on this on Monday, please do grab it. And it got me to thinking, when I was busily sitting in Cornwall this weekend, stitch,
away from all your equipment.
Yeah, which was kind of why I did it, because it was a hand-sewn thing and I didn't have to fill the boot with everything.
Yes.
I did wish that I'd got one of these.
Yeah.
And these are the mini mats. It would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Just to protect the table, because it wasn't my table.
Yes.
Or... And we've had an offer on these.
They're great, aren't they? And they've got this.
And they've got centimetres one side, inches the other. And these have been on a special.
There's card makers amongst us as well. You know, we
multi-craft.
Yes, multi-craft. That was the word, don't we? We make all sorts of things. So those mats are ideal for paper crafting.
Really handy. Really handy. So those are on the show as well. Faye says Little Mermaid was my daughter's favourite film as a child. She's now 33 and wanted to call her new brother Prince Eric Jesus after the prince in the film, and Jesus because he was a December baby. Needless to say, that was a no.
Oh, I was kind of hoping that you did.
So these conversations happen with children, don't they?
It's a bit like
Freddie wanting to call Emily Knuckles.
Yeah.
Knuckles McCarthy. She was Knuckles all through my pregnancy. All through. And Freddie still reminds her of that. Emily Alice! She says so, and then they argue about that.
Didn't she tell you the other day she wanted to change her name, though, to something else? Is that somebody else?
No. She calls herself Mimi. When she couldn't say Emily fully, she told everyone her name was Mimi McCarthy. Yeah. And Mum's like, she sounds like a showgirl.
You can see her, can't you, with her feathers in her hair and
her name was Mimi.
Yeah,
she was a showgirl. She'd love that.
That's your earworm.
Yeah. I'm just changing it for you. And what else has she done that has highly amused me? She found her cousin's oversized tap shoes. They don't fit her at all, but she's all over them. And she has now decided that she's going to learn to tap through the medium that is YouTube.
Amazing.
And where is the best floor for said tap dancing?
Kitchen?
No, the warehouse.
Oh, of course, yes. Absolutely, because it's a nice concrete one.
Yes. All the joys.
Yeah. So I want to drum, I suppose.
Freddie used to drum. He used to love, I need a 1, 2, 3, 4, mummy. He'd say, bang, bang. So no, they've now got into the guitars and ukuleles.
Amazing.
There is an app that you can help to tune your guitar and ukulele, and I use that regularly to tune them.
Yes.
I don't notice the difference, I'm going to be honest.
Oh, bless them.
Thank goodness it's not a violin.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Squeaky recorder.
Now, you have already found and are buying the Fiskars that we've got on a special offer for you today. Jane, why do we need good rotary cutters? Tell me.
To give you good precision and to prevent you cutting your fingers.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah, all of that. Yeah. I really use Fiskars most of the time. 90% of the time I use Fiskars.
Yeah, they're one of the top brands, aren't they, Fiskars?
They've stopped doing my favourite bent wobbly one.
Oh, have they?
Well, I can't get it anywhere.
Oh.
But I unveiled this yesterday. Nice soft grip. Down there. Ping to close off the blade. So super easy to use.
Yeah.
It is so important to shut your blade in between.
Absolutely.
So important.
It's very easy just to catch the side of your hand on your blade if you haven't cut it.
Or if it falls on the floor.
Yes.
And you've got bare feet or socks or anything like that.
Yeah, we'll stop talking about it.
Do you know what? 60 mil.
Oh, nice. Lots of cutting. Great to have a 60 mil.
Yeah! This one's ours now, Jane. It's ours. And again, same. Oh, it's a big one, isn't it?
That's gorgeous.
Loving
we
that.
use a 60 mil in the warehouse for cutting, don't we? Because we cut so much and it just makes life easier.
Slices through when you're doing, and especially if you're doing layers, because we use stripologies a lot to cut as well.
Yeah.
To cut through multiple layers, you're going to want that bigger blade. But then there's the titanium blade. Now this is expensive, I'm not going to lie.
No.
But as long as you don't nick your blade, that will last you way longer.
Yeah, you'll get more cutting for your money.
Yeah, so if you are someone who's super lazy and doesn't like to change their blade that often because they forget or underestimate just how much cutting they actually do, and then after 6 months when they do finally remember to change their blade, they go, oh, like when I got this out the other day, I was like, I'd forgotten how good a new blade actually feels.
It's a lovely feeling, and it's the same when you change your needle on your machine. You're like, why haven't I done this sooner?
What? Now this is the trigger one. So you squeeze that and the blade comes down. Again, great for safety, or you can lock it off and have it always out.
Yeah, so you can lock it when it's closed as well. So if you've got little ones that might just pick it up and want to play with it.
So you can't do that with those.
But they do have to be pushed to open, so there is a...
Horses for courses, Jane. Horses for courses.
Yeah.
I bought a cheap rotary cutter when I first started, and guess what?
I bet it didn't work for very long.
It didn't work.
No.
It was blunt as a badger's...
Yeah. Don't go to your DIY store and buy one of theirs.
Just don't do it.
Because they're for paper. It didn't work.
It was blunt.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I thought I couldn't cut. I nearly never quilted.
Yeah.
Because
this is it.
Because I paired it then with a ruler that wasn't a creative grid one, which slipped around all over the place. Blunt rotary cutter.
Slippy ruler.
Of course I hated cutting.
Destined to fail.
Exactly. Exactly that. Here endeth that lesson.
Yeah, it's always worth investing in good quality. The thing is, apart from changing your blade with your rotary cutter, you're never going to have to change it again, and the same with your creative grid ruler. Providing you don't drop it onto the concrete floor and break the corners off, you'll be fine. Speaking from experience, how did I go?
Who might have done that, Jane? Who, Jane?
Yeah.
Right, shall we have a look at Half Meter Heavens? These go live tonight at midnight.
Dum, dum, dum. There's some gorgeous ones in that.
There are. I don't know what this is, but enjoy. Okay, here. So, Sanderson. Jane, I love this. I love this. I love this.
Print, that is. It's just, it reminds you of childhood as well. I know it does. And it just reminds me, my nana had similar wallpaper on her walls, and it's just takes you straight back.
We had curtains growing up as a child with that sort of buttermilky yellow in the background, but this kind of print throughout. Absolutely beautiful. And I have very similar in my hallway and in my toilet. Yeah. And I really enjoy it.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Love a bit of Sanderson.
But you see, also you can team it with how pretty is this?
Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, look at that pink. That zizzes it, doesn't it?
Just beautiful. But again, these are sizable enough that you can applique, cut them out applique and build up your own.
Yeah.
So you might want to cut those all out and then put them on something and have those as a alternative cushion or something like that, like
Absolutely,
a feature cushion or
yeah.
something like that.
Wonderful.
Yes, 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 yes. Right. Now, everybody needs
oh, look at that
rainbows! Rainbows, rainbows, rainbows. We don't have a lot left of this.
I'm not surprised.
It's new in from CAIF, from the CAIF Facet Collective. It's actually a CAIF one. And we've got the rainbows in lots of different colours, but we don't have very much of the white left. I think because... Did we do a beach bag out of this rainbow?
Was it
dark? No, it was a darker one. But it's been incredibly popular. So if you do want a bit of rainbow in your life, go for it. Now, beautiful. I do not have... This is the last of our William Morris Strawberry Thief,
oh, this
Jane.
is just so classic. And
I know.
Oh, look at that. Very
rude not
up.
to, right? Rude not to. If you're going all
just
grown
make
up.
lovely cushions for your lounge with that piped in the edge. Just gorgeous.
Job done, right?
Yeah. Get 2 cushions out of that with that backing. Wonderful.
Beautiful. Job's a good one.
Or make a grown-up beach bag.
Oh yeah, the beach bag looked gorgeous in the Morris, didn't it? Now, what about this one though? Because I've only got a little bit left of this.
A bit of Pimpernel.
Pimpernel. I've got 2, in fact. You know when I say I don't have very much? 2 and it's gone.
It's lovely. It's
but
lovely.
Look how we've picked out. Yeah, with the claret.
Claret.
Woof.
Matches the background.
Doesn't
beautifully.
It? Now, slate. I've only got 2 in the slate as well. I know.
I just love that blue, which goes beautifully with our slate.
Yes.
Which actually makes the lemony cream Pimpernels pop.
Yes.
That's
all of
a bit
that.
of a tongue twister.
Lemony cream Pimpernels pop.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jane. I'll take that. Now, what about a complete colour change?
Ooh.
What about Strawberry Thief with a bit of pink?
Oh, that's pretty. Is that rose?
Yes, I believe so. I think you're right. Yes, with rose. I've only got 4 of these. And then it's gone. That's it. Morning, Jess.
That really brings out the strawberry flowers, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Now, what about some Liberty?
We love a bit of Liberty.
Jane,
this
I saw these
is just
in the warehouse at our suppliers and went, how elegant and beautiful is that?
It's just really pretty.
Now, I've put it with blush, but what you need to realise is that from the same collection, I might have also bought this one.
Which is lovely.
They're
They're
like
like
the
a poppy
greys and the
flower,
pinks.
aren't they?
Yes, but look at it with the grey. Now, I mean, I don't want to tell you how you spend your money. I can only suggest that this would be a really good choice.
It would make a fantastic quilt, wouldn't it?
Do you know what else I'm thinking? Infinity Scarves.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Just my colours. Just
go
my
with
colours.
anything, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yes. But I just love these.
Yeah, you can make one for you and one for a friend. Just saying.
I mean, yes. You are so right. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
So, you know, they are in today for the half meter heavens. I mean, you could do a quilt. It would be the most beautiful, elegant quilt, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would.
Ever. Liberty has excelled itself there, I feel. Now, if you ask my 8-year-old what he would like to be when he grows up, which a woman did in the shop when he was about 5, and he hasn't veered off what he would like to be since the age of 4 or 5. And he turned around to her, looked her dead in the eye, and went, a paleontologist, because she was there saying, oh, isn't he sweet, isn't he gorgeous, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think he was going to say like a fireman or something, and he just went, I want to be a paleontologist. And she went, oh, what? This I got for Freddie, not going to lie, I'm really sorry. If you guys would like to share, that's great, but I did get this for Freddie because it's got all the different shark teeth in there.
It's quite current after they found that megalodon tooth, isn't they?
Exactly.
That little boy was 12 and one scientist said, I've been looking for one of those all my life and I've never found one.
You've done it at 12, thank you so much. So yeah, I just thought that, I've paired it with, I want to say ivory. This is a Riley Blake one actually. Yeah, I'm going to say ivory, there we go. But I just think any little boy, I'm going to have to make Freddie all sorts of stuff out of
Pump
this.
bag. Yeah.
Yeah,
Lovely.
and also he in his new bedroom he wants to have a seascape.
Oh, lovely.
So if I do stuff like this to match,
Cushions, lampshades.
yeah, all of that.
Mm,
He's going to love it. And if he doesn't, then I'll just tell him he's really ungrateful.
You will love it.
You will love it. Oh, now, if we're going Liberty...
Oh, pretty. Pretty feathers.
I was saving this to make Emily some fairy wings. Haven't quite got around to it yet.
No.
I can't quite get the style right, and until I get to the design right, I can't bring it to air.
No.
So I've got various wings
in progress.
In the offing.
Yes.
And having not quite managed to, you know, bring them to air yet. But this I just think is so beautiful. I love peacock feathers.
Yeah, and it's a nice colourway. It's a little bit different but I love pink and orange together.
Well, me too, yeah. It's that gorgeous clash, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've only got a handful of those. Make the most. Oh, Jane, this one.
Oh, this is beautiful fabric.
Ha 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 ha. I'm not going to lie,
Look
I feel
at that, there's dragonflies.
slightly smug about finding this one.
It's a Riley break fabric as well.
I know. So now that some of the warehouses and stuff are opening up, I'm getting to go and rummage again.
Wonderful.
Having a lovely time, as you can probably tell.
Yes.
Rummaging. And I found this.
That is beautiful. That would make, in your beach bag pattern, that would make a beautiful
Anything.
bag.
Cushions, anything.
Yeah.
Look at the detail on that.
Beautiful.
So don't worry if you don't want to buy it, because I don't want to
Tasha and I will be using it all.
Do you know what? Could you imagine a bed spread out of that?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Jane.
It's really pretty.
Isn't it? I put it with that. Can't remember what that's called. Magenta. It is magenta. So they go live. Yeah, you see, there's a lot of love for that. They go live tonight at midnight. Jane, I'm going to get out your hair.
Okay.
I'll take my cup of tea.
That's a good plan.
Oh, Vicky needs to work out what she needs to make out of all the sea fabrics.
Yes.
Just going to leave it there. Do you know what you could do? I want to have a go at doing some Roman blinds.
Yes.
Or I'd quite like to have a wicker chair in my bathroom.
With a nice cushion on.
With a nice cushion on. Yep.
For those of you that have got holiday caravans and things like that, you could make some lovely things for those.
Beach bags.
Beach bags and cushions and seat cushions and...
Jess would like the aqua birds close up, please. Could you just grab that top one and just pop it on a...
Let's give you a close-up of this gorgeous fabric. Look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
Go a bit closer. Look at them. Colours are just, well, they're jewel colours, aren't they?
Beautiful.
There's dragonflies. Yeah. They're like finch-type birds, aren't they, with their little short beaks.
Ah, Deirdre, good
Seed
morning.
heads.
She says, good morning, Natasha. First time viewing.
Oh, hello.
Oh, we've got some beautiful fabrics here.
Look at those dragonflies. They're just iridescent, almost.
They're just stunning. I don't know how they've done this,
It's
but
beautiful.
I love it.
Beautiful.
And it makes me happy. So
We
there
love
go.
a happy fabric.
Oh, lots of people welcoming Deirdre this morning.
Right. Okay, so we've got two kits. Now, this is a kit that I haven't made. I haven't made the pattern up. We're limited on stock of this one. It's got a lovely selection of the Salt and Sea fabrics from Henry Glass. The pattern is by Andrea Tachiera. I don't really know how you say her surname.
I know, just
She's
say it
designed
quickly
them.
with confidence.
She's designed both the quilts. They're not my designs, this lovely lady's designs. The pattern comes with the kit. It's a free download from the Henry Glass website. Just saying.
Jan says, yes, please, to a Roman blind demonstration.
Yes, okay.
It can't be that hard.
No, they're not. And you've got the tape that goes with them and the string.
I'm going to look into it.
Yeah,
I'm going to
they
look
are
into it.
straightforward.
So, yeah, I'm going to do my homework on that, Jan. Because at
So-
some point I'm going to be moving house and I will need to do these things. Oh, Karen thinks that the birds would make a lovely dress. Have we cut them all up?
I think we have, yeah. Sorry, Karen, you'll have to find them all in half metre pieces and patch it.
Very short skirt, maybe?
A very short skirt. Yeah, so we've got some of all of the collection in the kits. We've added some of our salt batiks. This is the...
Oh, they just look beautiful with it, don't they?
Yeah, this is the it's called a novelty stripe. There's nothing novel about it really. It's a stripe with all the sea turtles and the shells on. You fussy cut it to make the borders. So it takes that panel, part of that panel there. So you're left with strips like this, of this one, which you could use in other projects, or border around a cushion, or the panels, or anything. Then we've got some of our plain whites. This is for quilt kit 2, not the one behind me. This is a separate kit which has got stars on it, which is lovely. It does need templates for it, so if you're going to have this one, you'll need to buy some template plastic as well. But everything's included in the kits, in the instructions. They give you a chart of the fabric, so you know exactly which fabric they're referring to, which I think is really helpful.
Yeah, and we've taken a lot off these. We've put these out.
You've
a
discounted
bit of
them
a
quite
bargain
heavily,
for you.
haven't you?
Yeah. So just so that you know,
they're lovely, clear instructions, easy to follow. I've got them upside down, which doesn't help you to look at.
For the one behind you, Jane, there's £20 off the one behind you.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm interrupting you to tell everybody about it, because so if we just have a quick look at the one behind you, that big one.
It's beautiful. I have made this slightly smaller than the actual pattern. There's another row that would go on it, so you'd have 6 of the panels. There's eight squares in the panel.
Yeah.
So you can choose which ones you want to have. I did it just to show off the pattern. I only did it like a 9 patch.
I really love it like that.
But then yeah, you could do the same.
For cushions,
you could make cushions or a table runner, seat cushion. You know, if your garden chair or something like that, you could make a long square seat cushion for your garden chairs. So so this is quilt 2, and this is the kit. There's a few pieces that we didn't have of the colours, so we've intermixed it with some of our stock fabrics, which I've carefully chosen to go with the colours that are in there, and I think they blend beautifully and work really well.
Both the kits have, I think it's around £20 off. There's a big saving on them.
That's amazing.
And they're really beautiful, and the pattern and everything is coming in with it.
Yeah, so you'll get the free pattern. We've printed it off for you, so you'll get that with the kit. You won't get your backing or your wadding, but the fabric for the binding is included in the quantities of the kits. So you've got everything for the quilt front and the binding in the kits with the instructions. That's quilt 2, and then this is quilt 1, which is the one behind me. So again, you'll get the instructions. Those are a little bit tatty. Yours will be nicer because I've been working with those. You get your panel. So you get your panel with all 8 of the squares in.
Ooh, yeah.
Which are beautiful, and the colours are subtle and soft. I think they're really lovely. There's a little bit of sort of like a corally pink in there,
yeah, peachy coral,
which you could add in if you wanted to accessorise that part with cushions and things. So for the full pattern, as it is in the instructions, you need 6 of those. So you'd still have 2 left over to make cushion fronts to go with it. Or you might want to just trim it down like I did and make it into a 9 patch, which is still a good size. You can see it's great size. You've got your turtles there. That's a bit of our Mystic Vine fabric. Now the one behind me, I used a different fabric, but we realised we hadn't got enough for the kits because I hadn't really thought about it properly. So we've substituted with that Salt Batik, which we feel works really well.
Oh yes, I might have got a bit excited about that one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's just
that's
so
just for that inner border. It's a stripe in the pattern, but we've put it there, and then it goes into the binding. So it's only a very small amount. It's about an inch of it that you see ultimately. So, but we really felt it picked up the darker blues in there. Just gave it that accent.
Lo wants to know if the panel is coming separately.
You can get the panel separately as well.
There you go.
We've got plenty of the panels, so you can buy the panel separately.
And then you can just, so we've got the way that we've done it.
Linen texture there from Macao, which we felt blended in beautifully as well. And then of course your lovely border.
So you can get either of the 2 kits, can't you, with the quilts? Yeah. So that's one way to buy, or we've got what fabric was left over, loaded by the ½ metre.
Gemma's worked really hard and loaded all that's left over. There isn't any of the stripy border left over. So the only way you're going to get the stripy
Yeah,
in
the
the
stripy
quilt
border
kits,
went in all the kits, didn't it?
which is why we're limited on numbers for the kits, because it takes quite a bit of that.
But it's
Because it's
worth
cut,
it.
it's not cut through the width of the fabric, it's cut through the length, so it gives you a full length for what you need for the whole of the quilt. And this quilt is 64 by 79 finished if you do the full size. So it's a good size quilt, single bed size, which is rather lovely.
Anna's already got hers. She's super excited. So I've just ordered mine. I love anything ocean, especially turtles and starfish.
Well, yes.
It's perfect.
We're all...
So Jane, this is the other question then is,
Yes.
have we seen now all of those fabrics that are available by the half metre up close?
There's just one that we haven't, and this is the one that they recommend to use the backing.
What?
Which is this lovely seashells and seahorses, and it's a beautiful...
Ooh. Backing? What?
Well, yes. Why would you want to? Well, I suppose if you're using it for somewhere where you're going to see the bag, you'd want to have it so that it matched.
Do you know what? I would be getting a salt batik and whacking that all over the back of it.
Well, we've got that beautiful teal extra wide salt batik, which would work beautifully for the backing on this. It would go so nicely.
Salt batik teal.
It's extra wide. It's like it's like a green colour more, but it's a sort of tealy green rather than a grassy green.
I wonder if we can oink that out from somewhere to have a look at it.
But we've got some of the Cafe extra wides as well, which would look rather stunning on the back of them.
I mean, it would all be so right.
Yeah.
Morning, Donna. She's loving the salt and sea quilt. Well, who isn't this morning? It's beautiful, beautiful time.
There's the turtles in the... Because there's two colourways of the turtles, and I'm not sure if it's in both of the... I think Quilt 2's got... No, it hasn't. So there's also this turtle fabric as well. In the lighter, in the paler colourway. I'm going to destroy the set now.
No, that's right. I learnt to dive so that I could dive with turtles. They just fascinate me. They're weird,
they're amazing,
and they're brilliant. And
well, they're almost prehistoric, aren't they, turtles?
Well, yeah, right.
Tortoises.
You just know that they've been on this earth far longer than we have. And
there's the...
But for some reason, Jane, every time I went diving, I missed them.
Oh.
And the one dive that I wouldn't do, everyone would see turtles everywhere. And then, on our honeymoon, on my birthday...
They came to see you.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Do you know what? I look at this fabric and I think this would make a really cute little boy's shirt.
If only I could make little boys' shirts, it would be gorgeous.
But there's something about it. I don't know what it is. There's starfish in there as well and shells. It's just really lovely and it's got a calmness to it.
Yeah.
I think it's the turquoisey colour, isn't it? Well, it's like being by the sea.
Do you know what? It is that thing. I mean, being in Cornwall this weekend and just watching my two by the water.
Yeah.
You just give
There's
them
a tranquility there, isn't
and
there?
a spade, and they were happy. We set the crab nets off. Freddie did a bit of kayaking. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Done. Day done. Thank you very much. Throw in an ice cream. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
It's not rocket
What more can
science,
you
is
ask
it?
for?
It really isn't.
So I'm going to demonstrate the blocks that I've done for this quilt.
Okay.
Just so that you've got the hints and tips that I found useful.
Hints, tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So it's made up of 2 blocks. You've got your panel block, which is framed with 2 fabrics.
Nice.
And then you've got this star block, I suppose you could call it, that's made up. It's a 9-patch, and it's really straightforward, lovely. It goes together so nicely. The instructions in the pattern are really clear. They are, as I say, you get the key with the fabric, so you know exactly which fabrics you need to use. Cutting instructions are nice and clear. And then for us that prefer a visual instruction, it's really well worded, but it's also good visual instructions in there.
We like all of that.
Lovely clear pattern. So you'll get that free with included in your kit. But this is my copy, which is a bit tatty around the edges now. Right, so let's make the panel square first. You need to cut out your panel. Now you will find, and especially when you read the instructions, that they're not actually square. They're slightly off square.
Oh, come on.
They are just under 10 inches high and just under 9 inches wide.
Right.
So in the instructions she tells you to trim your panels to 10 inches by 11 inches, and it actually, there's like a very thin border around the panel and then a slightly wider one, and actually on the edge of that wider one it's 1/4 of an inch away all the way round. Gives you an 11 high by a 10-inch wide panel. So it's really easy to cut out. It's just adding 1/4 of an inch around the outer border on the frame, if you like, of the actual square. So when I first read it I was like, oh gosh, but then working it out it's quite straightforward. So then from the you just need 2 of the fabrics for your borders, and she gives you the measurements for the borders. So you add the first border on and you add it to the sides first, which I'll just do using a 1/4 inch seam throughout the pattern. There's no, it's a you know, it's a good pattern to follow.
Did you enjoy making this one? Was it a nice easy one?
Yeah, and it went together really quickly. Once you've got all the pieces, it's like anything, isn't it? It's the cutting out that takes the time.
Yeah, of course.
And because with the block you're going to be cutting quite a few triangles, you know, make the best press your friend. Do everything.
Always make best press your friend.
Treat all your fabric before you start cutting it. It'll just save you, you know, a little bit of angst later on.
We do not want angst, Jane. We do
No.
not. We do not need that in our lives.
No, it's supposed to be enjoyable.
And was it a long make or not?
No, it didn't take. Well, I did it on Monday and Tuesday, didn't I? That's what I was doing.
Oh, yeah,
and I was
you did.
doing a bit of customer service and helping with a bit of cutting of fabric as well. So,
Bit of this, bit of that.
you know, I wasn't doing it full 8 hours each day. It's a nice weekend project to make the top. I mean, obviously I haven't laid it up and quilted it because I didn't have time to do that. But you may find that you might just need to trim the strip down. Sometimes when you press in, your fabric might stretch a little bit. So just line your straight line of your seam up with the straight line of your ruler against the edge of your panel, and then just trim those extra bits. That will just save you later on, because you might think, oh, I'll be all right, I can just leave those on and I'll just line up. But you tend to go off and it makes your square not square.
Oh, we don't want that.
Which is quite frustrating.
Yes. No. Yes and no.
So when you've done that, you press, and I press the seams away so the panel went under themselves. The seams went underneath the border.
Right, okay.
And then you add the top and bottom borders on, which again is very straightforward and easy to do.
Perfect. So far so good, nice and easy.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. And Andrea, the lady that's designed the pattern, at this point you're still thinking, well, how's this going to work when you're making squares when this is a rectangle? But then after you've added this border on, it all becomes quite clear.
Right, okay. You like all of that too? So what level would you say?
Confident beginner, I would say.
Okay.
You know,
Well, that works then, doesn't it?
Don't be overphased if it's your first quilt, because it is straightforward, and the instructions are very clear.
Okay.
So maybe not your very first one, but if you did decide to go for it because you really liked it, I don't think you'll have too much trouble.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's going for what you want.
Yeah. And I think as beginners as well, we're more confident and we don't know the trips and stuff. So we just see something and think, oh, I'm going to make that. And
Yeah,
just get on with
true,
it.
Yeah.
It's
Why
like,
would this be difficult?
yeah,
Why?
that looks easy. I'll do that. And then halfway through, you're like, what have I done? Right. So at this point, you now need to trim the block to measure 1.5 by 12.5. And again, I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? But then I remembered that Natasha got this lovely big ruler.
Yes.
It came in very handy.
Yes, I do.
And it actually works out, I can remember how I did it, looking at the 11.5 there, it actually works out that it's 1 inch either side from the seam.
Oh, nice.
So I lined up the inch mark with the seam line, making sure it was square with the seam there and the seam down here, and then just trimmed that off both sides. Turned that around and then made sure that my 11.5 mark was lined up with that cut edge. It just double checked it for me to make sure, and I can see that is still 1 inch there. So having this extra wide ruler was a real boon. And then we want it 12.5. So again, I just made sure the ruler itself is 12.5.
Yeah.
So looking at it, lined it up, and again, it was 1 inch either side.
Yeah.
Now, you might think, oh, well, you just go, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't cross over myself and cut across myself like that. It just really isn't a safe thing to do. So just lift your ruler up and turn the block around underneath. And then again, you can just line that up with your seams, making sure that you're nice and square against it. And just trim that bit off.
Nice.
So that was nice. And you might wonder, well, why don't you just cut the borders smaller? Well, you could do that, but this actually then gives you nice straight sides to add your next border onto.
Perfect.
And you'll see that your border that you're then adding on, you've got your sides there, it's just a little bit wider, the sides, than the top border, which you don't actually notice, but that then squares the block up. So we'll get those added on.
Beautiful.
There's just real restful colours, I think, this collection. It's very calm and like the sea, as we were saying. There's a tranquility to it.
Do you know that's not to be sneezed at, is it, really?
No, absolutely not. You will, of course, pin your borders.
Of course. Of course. Is it a proper do as I say, not as I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, there are some of us that are like me and they just slam things together, and there's nothing wrong with that if it works. And it does. The instructions are clear and everything fits together beautifully. So, we're all at different levels of ability, aren't we, and confidence with our sewing.
Yes.
And we all know where we are, and some of us are happier to pin things, and that is fine. There's no right or wrong. If it works for you, you do it the way that works for you best.
No judgy McJudgerson here.
No, absolutely not.
No. No.
Just going to move these rulers out of the way for a moment. There we go. So we're just going to press those like to set the seam, and then literally just pressing it away, trying not to stretch the fabric.
Oh, Jane, do you know
Yes.
what I found?
What did you
And
find?
I don't know if you're going to be able to see it from here. I was having a rummage through the best press,
Yeah.
and because I keep knocking the bottles of best press off my desk.
Oh,
and
you found the clip?
I did. Yeah, but you can't.
You
hang
can't
on.
really see it.
If
can
I
you,
move
from
that
there?
out of the way, because you don't need that on there, because that's all my stuff.
It fits perfectly on that
It
shelf
clips on.
with the flatter inside.
It's brilliant.
It's really handy, and on the side, I mean, our workbench is quite deep, so it wouldn't clip onto there, but onto your ordinary sewing table, that would clip on the side of your sewing table or on your ironing board.
Done.
And you're just not going to knock it off then?
I love it.
Because I knock mine off
absolutely love it.
constantly.
Yeah.
Because I've got my flatter in one of the squirty bottles, you know, that we had at the beginning.
And they fit in there as well.
And they fit in there lovely. So I think I might have to get one of those for mine. Because
I
I'm
would.
constantly knocking it off. And even, you know, when I think it's out of the way of everything, the ironing board's not quite straight. So as I iron, it just rocks it, and then it
just
before I
falls
know
off.
it, it's
Yeah.
tipped off.
Yeah, no, of course.
Which makes Daisy jump, because she likes to sit underneath the ironing board.
Oh, Daisy. Bless her. How is lovely Daisy?
She's very well, yeah.
Daisy doll.
We wanted to take her with us when we went away to the lakes this time, but she's more like Josh's support dog, really, so we didn't feel that we could take her away from him.
Oh, he's very
And he
good
loves
with her, though,
walking.
isn't he?
Well, she's good with him as well, and he walks her everywhere. Everybody knows Daisy as well as they know Josh, bless.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody said to me, I was walking her one day, and somebody said to me, why have you got Josh's dog? I was like, because I'm his mum and it's my dog. I thought that was quite. Why have you got Josh's dog?
Family dog. Family dog.
Yeah.
Think you'll see.
That's
family
quite
dog.
nice though to know that there are people out there looking out, you know, thinking I might have stolen Josh's dog.
Oh,
It's the beauty of living in a village where everybody knows everybody.
yeah. There is pluses and
Yes.
minuses, aren't there?
They really, you know, everybody looks out for Josh. It's lovely. So you can see that that block goes together quite quickly, and the only thing really is that trimming bit. But as long as you take your time and just line up your seams, keep it nice and straight, you then end up with a square,
Nice.
which is lovely, just because that border is slightly narrower than the side borders, but looking at it, it's visually, you can't really see that, which is magical, isn't it? But that green, that's our sea green,
Yes.
just works beautifully with the colours within this panel. It's, you know, it was amazing really when we pulled it out, because we looked at mint first, but mint's quite yellowy in its tone, but this ice green it is.
It just works, doesn't it?
It's got a bluey tone to it,
It's-
and it just picks it out beautifully.
It's trying to find, isn't it, the right things.
Yeah, we're very lucky because we've got all of the colours to choose
We've got
from. and we
all
can
the
just
stuff.
take
in
the
all the
fabric
world.
to it and go with it. Right, so the next block, there's only 2 blocks in this quilt, is the, it's like a star shape. It's almost got a sawtooth star feel to it. There.
Oh, nice.
But it's really straightforward making,
Mm.
and it's all, you will start with squares.
Okay.
So there's no triangle cutting or anything like that until you've sewn it, so that's quite straightforward. So we'll have a go at making that. So your middle square, which is the one with the turtles on, and that's the dark blue, you'll need to mark your diagonal line. You've just taken the caddy. Have you got
What?
a pencil marker?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
There's me
I just
going.
automatically
You don't
went
need
to-
any of this, Jane. It's all mine. There's the caddy.
Lovely.
There you go.
Thank you. Just, you know how you automatically go for something and then realise it wasn't there?
Yeah.
So we need to mark the diagonal across the little squares from corner to corner. And I always start from the middle and mark outwards, just so not to stretch the fabric. And it doesn't really matter which fabric marker you use, because you're not going to see it because it's on the reverse of the fabric. You're going to sew on the line, so if you want to use one of your removable ones, that's fine. So you place the square, the small square, in the corner of your larger square, with the diagonal line running through the middle of the square. So basically you're going to cut the corners off.
Right.
So just make sure that you've got your line going the right way.
Okay.
Because if you put it this way round and then try and cut it, you won't be able to cut it, and you'll end up with something very strange. So it's cutting the corner off. The diagonal line cuts the corner off. And you're going to sew on the line. And again, you might wish to pin that in the corner just to keep it steady and so it doesn't move. And then once you've sewn that, you're then going to trim the corner, place your 1/4 inch mark of your ruler on that sewn line and trim that corner off. So you've got that. And then you press that, and you just press that triangle back to remake the square. So there we go. We've got that there. Oh, wrong
Sorry,
angle.
it didn't. Yeah, no, it didn't change.
So you've got that there. Now you've got quite a lot of wastage of half square triangles there, which could be usable. So what you can do is you can mark 1/2 inch away from that first line. Now you're going to place this in the corner again, so that that diagonal line runs from the middle to the middle. It's going to overlap here. Don't worry that you've cut your square the wrong size. It's meant to overlap. That's going to be your seam allowance.
Okay.
So you're going to sew over that one and along here. But what you can do is you can sew on both of those marked lines. So you can just take it out, turn it around and come back down that other line.
Well, that works as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. And what happens then when you cut your 1/4 inch away from that first line, you're also cutting a 1/4 inch away from the other line, and you've created half square triangles.
Nice.
That you may not use now, but you've got them ready.
Yeah.
And you can make all sorts of things with half square triangles. So you could create another cushion to go with your quilt, or your panel that you're making into something else.
All the options.
All the options are there.
We do like all the options.
So you've now got that one. So then you place the third square in the next corner, and basically you're just going around with each square in each corner of that first square and sewing through the diagonal.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward, really.
It is
isn't
very straightforward, and this technique is the technique that you're going to use really in all of the squares that make this star shape. So once you've got your middle square done, it's really going to, once you've got that technique, you're going to use the same technique throughout the quilt. So for the block, so it's it's not difficult. Not difficult at all.
Life doesn't need to be difficult, does it, Jane?
No, and you see, it creates this beautiful pattern, and it's a very simple unit that makes up the block, which is lovely. Which is why I say, if you are a beginner and you think, oh, I'd quite like to have a go at this, I don't think it's going to be too difficult for you, really. I mean, Andrea's put it down as a advanced beginner.
Right.
Yeah, which I would say confident beginner, same thing, isn't it?
You would
really?
concur, would you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's your centre square for your star. And then you're going to need to make you're going to make 4 of these. These are the sort of the middles, the middle squares of the sides, if you like.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the same technique, except you've got 2 colours of squares. So we've got the mint green of ours, and then we've used some Macawa linen texture for what is the background of these squares. And again, you're going to need to mark your diagonal line, and it's exactly the same process as making the middle square.
Right.
Except you've got 2 colours. So you just need to be careful with your colour placement, is all I'm going to say. Now for quickness, when I was doing mine, I did opposite squares. So I placed my squares in the opposite corners.
Right.
And sewed them, chain pieced them. So I'd sew down all that side and then all down that side. But that's all right with this one because they're all the same colours, but you just need to be careful when you're doing the second one because of your pattern placement, your colour placement.
Okay, right. Yeah, got it.
Because Andrea tells you to do them one at a time and go round. But there's quite a few of them, and I was trying to get it done. So you'll do that one there. But what I would do when I was doing it quickly is I placed the opposite colours, so the green and the blue opposite, sewed down those, cut either side, and then place those ones on. So I'll do that now, and then you can see what I'm waffling on about.
What's she on about?
What's she talking about? But you will need to pin them because, of course, they will move as you take them to your machine when you've got 2 squares on. So again, you're sewing on the line. So you sew down 1 diagonal across the corner.
Yeah.
Just lift it out, just pull the thread, and then go down the other side.
Okay. A lot of love for these quilts, Jane. They are beautiful, beautiful,
they are,
beautiful.
and the lady that's designed them, she's done a lovely job. It really is nice. There's a simplicity about it that gives, this is the beauty of patchwork. Simple units that when they're combined to make a block, make a really impressive quilt.
And just allows the patterns to speak for themselves,
Yeah,
doesn't
absolutely.
it? That's the beauty of this.
Yeah, really shows the fabrics off. So we'll just press those triangles back. And you might just want to snip through that thread that you just pulled and went round.
So Patricia's having a learning day today.
Yes.
She's looking for the gum leaves under the Aussie Sun material. She thought it was on Monday, but she can only see a few. If you click on Show All, it will show you like the first 3 fabrics.
Yes. I found that, and it took me a while, and Josh had to show me, and I was like, "Oh, right, of course."
That button that says
There's
Show All.
like a blue bar, and it's on the right-hand side of that blue bar. It says View All or Show All or something like that.
Yeah, or See All or something like that.
And click on that, and it shows you the whole collection then.
And it's the same with the half metre heavens. When you go onto the half metre heavens, you'll see however many of the first. And also, every time we put a collection together for the products.
Yeah.
For every show.
Yeah, any show that we do, and Gemma sort of tags in all the products that you might find useful.
And it's just a matter of always having a look at View Everything.
View Everything, yeah.
Yeah. Vicky wants to know if the SSB 109 is available cut to order. Yeah, of course it is. That's the
Is that the?
That's the Silk Batik.
Silk Batik, yes. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of that, haven't we? Right, so on this one, you can see now, you can start to see how it's developing. If we can have an overhead of this.
Sorry,
Natasha,
just reading the rest of Vicky's message.
Yeah. You have to do everything, don't you, while you're sitting there, talk to people and get my camera
press
angles.
buttons and all the stuff.
So you can see now what I've done is I've put them, making sure that they're next to each other with the opposites. So that light green is against the light green that side, and the blue is against the blue. You can't go wrong, really. And again, we're going to sew along the diagonal marked line. Just take it out, turn it round. And of course you can chain piece this. You can go down one side and then back up the other, and it really does save you time.
Because how many, hang on, we're making, on the actual design?
On the actual design, you need to make 6 of these blocks.
So yes.
And you've got 4 of these units in each one, so that's 24, isn't it, yes, 24 of each of the blocks, which is quite a lot. So doing them chain piecing really does save you time. And we'll just press those away. And again, I found it easier to press the triangles away from the middle square, just because it sat nicely. And you're going to need, as I say, you're going to need, for each block, you're going to need 4 of these squares.
Right.
And they go in the middle of each side, like so. It's a 9 patch at the end of the day, and it really does come together nicely. So for the corner blocks, it's the same principle, but you just need 2 of your squares. And again, we're going to mark the diagonal, corner to corner on the reverse of those 2 squares. And again, you can chain piece this, you can put both of them on at the same time, because they do go in opposite corners. I love this seashell and starfish fabric.
It's gorgeous,
really
isn't it?
Gorgeous.
I am a big fan.
So we'll sew on the diagonal line of both of those.
Overall, this does all right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it comes together really quite quickly. It's and then we'll cut again. We cut that 1/4 inch away, and as I say, if you wanted to do that 1/2 inch from that marked line and do the others, you'll have got all of these half square triangles, and there's quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good way of not wasting your fabric, because that's quite a good size. It's a good size square. It makes it's a 2 inch, which would be 1.5 inch finished, just over 2 inch half square triangle, which would just be over 1.5 when you've finished. So you could get some really good things made with that. Nice. Now with this one, I found when I was putting my block together, it was actually easier to have the seam going under the centre square.
Right.
Now I would say that when you want your seam to go under the fabric you want it to go under, have that on the top. So
right,
it is a little bit tricky because it's a half square triangle, and just take your time. It is literally pressing it.
Ooh, decisions, Jane. Which way to press? It's a pressing matter.
It is a pressing matter.
Yes.
I just found it easier for putting the blocks together. And so you'll need 4 of those for the corners, right, of your block. And then it's a case of sewing them together in rows. So these 2 this row, the middle row, and the top row. So lining them up. And as I say, I haven't pressed these the right way. Let me just repress that one. That's one I made earlier, and that's when I found out that it was easier to have the seam going the opposite way.
That's how we find it out.
we do it all so that you don't have to, you see.
Do you know, we're very generous like that, Jane. I do feel.
So when you're placing these two squares together, you want the seams here to match up. And so by pressing that seam in on that one and out on that one, when you put them together, they'll lock. The seams lock together, so you can line it up nicely. And it should just fall into place. I've lost my foot.
That's what we
It's
like.
crept away.
Oh, I put the thingy on it, Jane, so it shouldn't.
I still think I must be a bit heavy-footed or something, because I do, even with the mat on, and it was a godsend because it doesn't move as far away as it used to do.
No,
it used to
it
be
used
right
to go
under the table before.
I know. We'd have to have a proper good rummage, wouldn't we? And she's off.
There we go. You can see when I open this out, that lines, because those seams are opposite, when you can nestle the seam, it lines up beautifully. It's really nice. And I pressed these ones towards the corners on the top and the bottom row. And again, that was purely just so that when I come to put the rows together, they will nestle into each other nicely as well.
Beautiful.
So we'll get this other side done, and we'll get those 2 rows done. And you'll see how the block comes together.
It's such a pretty one. And then interspersed, what I like is that it kind of creates a chain effect.
Yes, it does. It's got sort of
so it's got movement as well.
Yeah. It's like a crisscross behind.
Yeah. We like that a lot.
Mismatched my seams slightly there, so I'm going to just unpick that. Got your unpicker? Can't see it. Yes, there it is.
Oh, there's many an unpicker, Jane. You know what I'm like.
I'll just go through. I just keep mine flat and I go through just every 3rd stitch when I'm unpicking. Try not to make a hole in my fabric. It's like watching paint dry, watching somebody else unpick their stitching.
Yeah, but it's a vital part.
But I always keep it flat because there's a danger of stretching your fabric if you don't. I know that the dressmakers amongst us would probably think, well, why don't you just pull the seam open and slip down? But if you're pulling it, you're stretching it. And particularly these corners are half square triangles, so there's a bias to them, so you don't really want to stretch them out. So just through every 3rd stitch there.
Yeah.
Keeping it flat. And then you can go underneath and you can grab the thread there and it will just pull out.
Nice.
So that takes no time at all, but I just needed to line that up a little bit better because it wasn't lined up. There's some things you can live with and some things you can't.
Jane has just found what she can't.
Yeah, that's better.
You're
Gives a
happy
proper
with that?
triangle there.
Kind of move the camera angle, you're happy.
Yes.
There you
There
go.
we go. So that's your top row, and we'll do the bottom row the same way. Just lining those up. And of course, pin it if it makes it easier for you.
Vicky, I'm going to check whether or not that batik is sold out, and certainly it's one we can get back in, I believe.
Yes, of course I opened my mouth, didn't I, without realising that we might have sold it, because we've had it for quite a while. That extra white batik, it might have all gone.
Oh no, it was. It wasn't. No, it wasn't that one. It was the ones that are in the kit. But we had quite a few bolts of that one that was in the kit.
Yeah.
So we should have enough to have it cut to order.
We may have removed it because we used it in something else, because we do that sometimes, just so that we don't try and fulfill stuff that we haven't got the fabric for.
Yeah. We'll go and have a little. We'll go and have a little look. And get back to you. Claire's just sewed the other half of her zip pouch under the one that she's making. We all do that.
We've all done that.
Yeah, I mean, at least you don't have lots of people watching you do it.
Yes.
Yes.
That is the beauty.
Yes.
Claire, nobody needed to know unless you told us.
Yes. But it's kind of comforting.
We do it in front of everybody and they can all see.
Oh, there you go. Elizabeth says, this dressmaker unpicks on the flat. Every fourth stitch on top stitch, then grab the bobbin thread and pull.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the one.
Now, sewing the side blocks to the middle block, all the seams are facing the same way. So the important part for me here is just making sure that that middle point there and that middle point on the one underneath line up with each other.
Okay.
So just making sure that the pin goes straight through and then just folding that back just to hold that. And sometimes it might not be quite lined up, but if you just, you know, you can adjust your seams. You can, I don't know if you can see, if we go close up on there. I know that that's lined up in the middle there, but that seam on that side is just slightly wider. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm more worried about it meeting here. That will disappear into the seam allowance.
Okay.
So I won't worry too much about it. And the other thing you've got is you've got like the X marks the spot. So you want to make sure that your seam going across here just sits above that point there, and that way you won't lose the points of your square.
Ooh. It's just learning these things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all these little tips that you can use to help you get a better finish to your patchwork.
We want that one for sure.
So that sits nicely on there. And that one's going to sit on there.
And away we go. Do you have a favourite out of the two quilts?
I like them both. I like this one because it uses the panel, but I like the star effect of the other one. I think the other one is really clever, and there's a she makes the template block, and then she adds a half square triangle onto the corners of the template, which when you look at it overall sort of gives it like a curve shape to it. I don't know if we can see that on the
let's try
on the pattern, but it's also there's white in it here, and it almost gives it like almost a curve shape to it.
Yeah,
it's what we call a 60-degree triangle unit. Put it upside down. I keep forgetting that it's upside down when I'm showing it on the camera. So you make the 60-degree triangle unit.
Just do it for you. Yeah.
And then you add a half square triangle onto the corners above that, and that gives that sort of 3D star effect, which I thought was really clever.
It's those little things, and you look at and you learn from other people, and you go, oh, nice.
And it gives it a lovely sort of, it's almost like a diamond when they join together there.
Yeah.
But the white sort of creates like this sort of curved effect, which I thought was really clever. It gives it a sort of three-dimensional look to it.
Gorgeous.
So I pressed the seams towards the middle square on this one, just to make it easier to line my rows up together. Now that's, And just make sure when you're putting your rows together that your pale green faces towards the middle. It would be very easy to get one of them
the wrong way
upside
round.
down. You create a different block, but you wouldn't get the effect that you were looking for.
Okay.
And because I've got my seams going out on the top row and in the middle row, when I come to line those rows up, I can nestle the seams there and there, knowing that everything should fit together nicely. And again, you can just nestle the seams here with the half square triangles. So just pop a pin in along there and across the seam here. And here. Just lining those up. You can feel it. You can feel where the seams sit on top of each other, and they almost like lock into each other. It's really quite a satisfying feeling.
Yeah, that interlocking of the seams works a treat, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it helps to give you good seam matching as well.
All the stuff. We want all the stuff, Jane. Because we haven't had a twiddle in the middle today.
Makes life easier for you. It's just, there's no twiddle in the middle, I'm afraid.
And I know that will upset Margaret. Soz.
And I think the block itself actually prefers the seams to go away from the middle.
Yeah.
There just seems to be less resistance by pressing it up and away.
That's the thing, isn't it? Do you always go to the point of least resistance?
I do, really. I listen to sounds silly, but you listen to your fabric, really. It tells you, generally, which way it goes. Sometimes you might have to fight it a little bit, but generally speaking, it'll tell you which way it finds easier. And then we add the bottom row to the middle as well.
Nice.
And that comes together quite quickly. Again, it's the cutting and the actual making the units that takes the time. The block itself comes together quite quickly.
Yeah.
Chain piecing really makes it a lot quicker. And they're very
especially when
easy
you've got,
to
and then you kind of get in the flow, don't you?
Yeah, and they're very easy units to chain piece, so it really does come together nicely.
Beautiful. Oh, has it gone?
That pin in there. Sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm trying to follow you, and sometimes it's on no camera.
There's nothing there at all.
It's a blind spot. There we go.
There we go. I'm just grateful I don't have to do it myself like you do when you're doing your demonstrations. Otherwise we'd be in a real pickle.
Well, sometimes we are, to be fair, when I do it. But, it's all good. I remember the first show that we ever did. Trying to just remember to do it.
Yeah. Because you get so engrossed in what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we'll just press that.
Now, a lot of you actually this morning going for the Elliot's Garden quilt as well. We did put that quilt pattern together. It was on the wall on Monday's show. And if you are going for it, we have done that.
Brilliant. So there's your block.
Oh, look at that.
So for the rows, your top rows 1 and 3, you've got your block in the middle with your panels either side. Just sew them together in a row.
Yeah.
And then your rows 2 and 4 have the panel in the middle with the block either side.
Perfect.
So you'll make your rows and then you sew the rows together. And in for this pattern you'll make 2 with the panel either side and the block in the middle, and 2 with the panel in the middle and the blocks either side, and then you alternate those. You add your borders around, and then you've got your wide border. And she explains really clearly, because it's a mitred corner.
Right.
And I was going to bring the offcuts in to show you how to do a mitre, and I've forgotten to do that. But she gives really clear instructions here about how to work that out. And if you imagine that's your quilt, you fold your quilt in half like that.
Yeah.
You sew all your borders on just up to 1/4 inch away from the corner.
Yes.
And then once you've got your borders on, and there'll be extra bits flapping all around.
Which doesn't sound comfortable.
No, it doesn't sound comfortable at all. You fold your actual quilt into half diagonally.
Yeah.
Carefully, because obviously that's all a bias. And then you'll line up the two borders.
Right.
They'll fold against each other, right sides together.
Yeah.
And then you'll mark your 45-degree line following the diagonal of your quilt here.
Yeah.
So it goes across the top there, and then you sew on that, trim it away, and then when you open it out, it'll lie nice and flatly, and it'll fall into the corner.
Okay.
She explains it really well there, and there's a really clear diagram.
And again, that pattern is coming in there.
You get that with
For
your
you.
quilt, with your
For
kit, don't you?
free. Yeah. Because it's not one of our ones.
No, and it does say there, not for resale.
Yeah.
So we're not selling
We're not
it.
selling it.
We're giving it you.
Giving it. Yeah. Printing it off.
Printing it off for you
All
for
of that.
free.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. All of that.
So there it is.
Ah, Jane,
And
gorgeous.
I love that one with the mermaid's tail. Just, whoop.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got that nice bit of movement, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Which I think we all love. So, Jane.
Yes.
Next week,
Yes.
would you like to tell us?
We've got, I was going to bring it in. Why didn't I bring it in? We've got a lovely, very simple pattern, but it's very effective.
It's stunning. It's stunning. Once again, Jane underestimates everything.
It's basically half square triangles, but different size ones that create a lovely block that when you put it all together is quite spectacular.
Quite stunning.
It's
Gorgeous.
Lovely. It's lovely.
Oh, Jane, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Guys, pop any O'Deal in. Here we go.
Gemma's here.
Ah, Gemma
You're a
Heard.
superstar.
Did you? You haven't even got your daughter's trainers on today, Jem. What's going on?
She's such a star. Where would you be without Gemma? It needs a good brush. It's a bit fluffy. There we go.
That is next week's quilt.
That's next week's quilt.
Woo!
Lovely bit of cave in this.
Yeah, we've never bought that fabric to wear because you nicked
I
the entire bolt.
saw the bolt and went, can I use this?
And
And
we
I've
went,
had this
yes.
quilt idea in my head for a while.
And I love the fact you've used all sorts of different
The
textures
batiks,
through
yeah.
there as well. Just beautiful. I hearts it very, very much.
lovely.
Isn't it amazing? Quilts can be so incredibly different.
Yes. Yeah.
Just so different.
Yeah. And we'll probably bring an alternative colourway to this one as well, won't we? Which will look equally as stunning, I should imagine.
I mean, would be rude not to.
It's lovely when you've got an idea in your head and you design it and then it comes together and it's exactly, if not actually slightly better than you designed.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, I hope this will work.
And it so does.
And it's lovely.
It's so impactful as well from afar when you hold it up. It's
Yeah.
just like, yes.
It's really dramatic.
Love it.
I called it carnival because it reminds me of confetti, you know, that you see when you go to carnival and it's all in the air.
And also that fabric, the cave fabric, looks like fireworks.
Yes. Yeah.
So it works on so many levels. Ah, thank you, Jane.
You're very welcome.
That's next week's quilt. In the meantime, next week we are waiting to hear whether or not Mr. John Cole Morgan is feeling well enough to join us.
Yes.
But otherwise, Jane, do you want to show people what I bought? A little bit of show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's just on the. I've got to sew it in, but it's just on the shelf.
Oh, this lovely zip.
Yeah. So I bought.
Natasha's been really creative.
I bought some zips.
Let's move these out the way. Boop, boop.
And for me, this is kind of like the
Close up,
design
shall we?
process. Yeah. So I bought the zips and then thought, what am I going to make with them?
They come. Well,
I've got to
sewn
stitch it
down,
in. Yeah. I've got to sew
But it
in.
comes with this. It's like leather. I don't think it is leather.
It is leather.
Oh, it is leather.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So it comes with that piece of leather on it, and that toggly bit on it.
Which was
Zip
what sold
pull
it to
on
me.
it.
And I was like, yes, that looks phenomenal. But then the Hampton stripe with it, Jane.
It's just amazing. Now, you know, we've got Father's Day coming soon. How nice would that pouch be for a daddy person? Husband,
I mean, you could fit razors
grandfather.
and goodness
Yeah,
knows what in there.
great
Overcoat it
little-
if you wish.
Beautiful.
So we've got those. So those zips were a little bit of a find, if I'm
They're
honest.
really exciting, those, aren't they?
Yeah, and a very, very simple make. Honestly, you'll get it made in like the only bit that's going to take you a
The
little
pouch as well,
while.
look.
Oh yeah, so I did pop those in. So I've just done sort of an accompanying pouch
I
as
think
well.
you're going to popper it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to pop.
That would make a lovely set for, well, anybody. Doesn't have to be a man.
Well, you see, the thing is, Jane,
It's
with
rather
some of
lovely.
the other Lisa fabrics, because of the gold on the zip,
Yeah, it works beautifully.
yeah, so I'll make another few samples and we're going to have a little play.
It's alive.
I can't use too many of the zips because otherwise, you know,
Yes,
won't
we'll
have
have none
enough
to
left
sell.
but, yeah, I've had that in mind, and it's simple,
It is.
really simple.
It's a really good size pouch for putting your EPP in as well.
All the stuff.
Yeah.
All the stuff in all the world. Right, everybody, that is what we've got coming up next week, and all of that. So take care, lots of love, behave yourselves, and if you can't behave, don't get caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then, give us a wave, Jane.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.